The Democrats have finally found a use for government-issued ID. Unfortunately, no, it has nothing to do with securing our elections. Rather, they want you to show official identification so that the government can be your sugar daddy. You cannot make this stuff up. So at a recent press conference, Mamdani revealed part of his plan for the city-run grocery stores. And while he didn't use the term government-issued ID specifically, if you listen closely, it's very clear what they're getting at.
How are you going to keep people from taking advantage of that, that deal, basically? And is there going to be a limit on the number of items that someone can take that are discounted at that level from that essential basket?
So our RFP makes very clear that this is a program for New Yorkers to be able to put food on the table, not a program for people to be able to make a quick buck through reselling. I'm going to pass it over to our EDC head, G-Pack, to add some additional details.
Yes, if you look at our RFP for the operator, we are looking to make sure that we target New Yorkers, whether it be at sort of a library card-esque thing, and also we manage who's buying and that is focused on everyday New Yorkers. So we are mindful of that, and so we're going to make sure that we have all the things in place to ensure that that does not happen.
In other words, you have to show government-issued ID in order to access this new city-run grocery store. The Democrats have been claiming for years that voter ID, getting government-issued ID, is somehow racist. And, black people, poor people, minorities, they're not smart enough to connect to the internet. They don't have the resources to get official identification. Yet here in New York City, where this program is supposed to make food more affordable and lower costs by up to 30%, you actually have to show an ID here to take advantage of all of that. That right there was a brilliant showcase of just how manipulative the Democrats are. So you'll notice they never use the phrase identification or government-issued ID at all in that press conference. And it was actually really savvy because when it came to that portion, Mamdani himself stepped away from the podium. When they had to break the bad news to their constituents, it was one of his underlings who came up and took the mic there, right? And the phrase she used was library card-esque. Well, a library card is issued, of course, by the library, but who runs the library? Oh yeah, the city runs the library. And if you actually take a look at what New York City requires in order to get a library card, you'll see you have to show one of the following: a current driver's license, a current photo learner's permit, or a current non-driver's identification. And they provide so many forms of how you can prove your identity, prove that you live within the jurisdiction of New York City. So in order to get a library card itself, you have to show ID, you have to prove you live there, you have to prove that you are a constituent. So the fact that she used the phrase library card-esque, okay, Missy, you might not be saying that this is ID in order to go to the city-run grocery store, but yeah, you do need ID to go. The exact same Democrats who claimed it was racist to require people prove they are who they say they are in order to vote are now requiring that exact same identification to buy food to put on their table for themselves and their families. It is the height of hypocrisy what they are requiring here. But of course, that's what the Democrats do. And New York City, while it is just falling apart, it is in shambles right now. The city budget is a disaster. And these 5 proposed city-run grocery stores, they won't come into effect yet for another couple of months. But the city is already facing a very tight financial spot right now. Mamdani, of course, ran on free buses, free childcare, basically free this, free that for everyone. We now know, thanks to the New York Times, that they're facing a $5 billion shortage. Mamdani may need to find $5 billion more a year for free childcare. A new report by the Center of New York City Affairs projected that the child care system for all children under 5 could cost the city about $9 billion per year. Mamdani himself is actually a little more pessimistic than that New York Times article, because the Times is citing $5 billion. Mamdani and his team are saying it may actually be $6 billion. So that's just for childcare. You can only imagine how much it's going to cost to run these city-run grocery stores. It's not going to be pretty. And we've seen already the homeless population just exploding in New York City. They basically have their own version of Skid Row already. And the embarrassing part for the Democrats here is that they claim that they were supposed to help the middle class. They were supposed to help the poorest among us, yet more people are poor in the city than ever before. And as if all of that wasn't bad enough, as if the financial crunch wasn't bad enough, they now have a huge spike in anti-Semitic crime. So Jewish people are less than 10% of New York City, yet now almost 60%, I believe it's about 56% of all the crimes in the city are actually anti-Semitic hate crimes. So things are just going really well in New York City. They've definitely gotten what they voted for there. On top of all of that, again, it's just thing after thing after thing. The cards really are falling here like dominoes. All of the people who would actually pay for all of this are beginning to leave the city. And this isn't Fox News propaganda. This isn't a right-wing talking point. Just take a look at how the New York City news, the local news, is covering the mass exodus.
After 2 years of growth, a study by the Citizens Budget Commission shows more people moved out of New York City than moved in 2025. That's according across all income levels. Okay, so take a look. Before any of this year's proposals on tax changes, the drop is mainly attributed to a 70% drop in international migration. Our Angela Bavaro hitting the streets to ask you to pop off about why you would leave or stay in the city.
And this clip goes on for about 2 to 4 more minutes. It's just a man on the street style interview asking person after person, are you staying? Are you leaving? And if you're leaving, why? And basically everyone they spoke to was saying they were leaving because of the high cost of living and how much more unaffordable it's gotten over the last year. So Mamdani definitely is not keeping his campaign promise. He definitely is not actually fulfilling what he told everyone there he would do. In fact, it's the exact opposite. And when it comes to these extreme Democrat policies, that's exactly what we're getting here. And that's, the theme of the video, right? The exact hypocrisy of their own policies. They say that they're against government-issued IDs. You can't use that in order to vote, yet they require that to go get food at these city-run grocery stores. I mean, it's rules for thee and not for me, right? One of the big talking points, and just to prove it here, right? Just how hypocritical they're being. They say that they want to abolish prisons. They say that with one breath. Yet in the next breath, they say that they want to lock up President Trump. They want to lock up anyone who has served in his administration. They say that they want to abolish the police. Yet they say they want to investigate President Trump for crimes. They want to investigate everyone who has served in his administration for crimes against humanity. Everything they say they want to do, everything they say they want to eliminate, they actually want to weaponize it against their political enemies. That's all that socialists and communists do. Of course, they wrap it up in a pretty bow. Oh, we're democratic socialists. We're not actually real socialists or communists, but they are just full of crap. The sad part here is these candidates are moving closer and closer. It's not just, the primaries in New York City or in Denver or these various places. One of the most recent examples actually is coming from Wisconsin. The Democrat nominee, more likely than not, is going to be this woman named Francesca Hong, and she's talking about basically how she wants to abolish the prisons, abolish the police. They're really doubling down on this. Before it was just Congress people, right? Representatives. Now here is an actual person running for an executive position saying this out loud.
Abolishing policing is one segment of reforming and reevaluating our criminal justice system. Using those funds using the funds after we've eliminated the access to eliminating funds for the police needs to be put into rehabilitation services, mental health services for those in prison, making sure that we are looking at decreasing our prison populations.
Again, it's all just lies. They are going to run on trying to abolish all of this stuff, but like I said, it's really going to be weaponized against their political enemies. You just take a look at what's happening in Europe or in the UK, where you can be put into prison for simply posting the wrong thing on social media. Oh, you posted a joke that people found offensive? Well, off to the gulag for you. Yeah, I guarantee you, once the Democrats come back into power, of course they're going to try to impeach, punish, imprison President Trump. We all know that that's what they're going to do because that's what they did last time. Yet they have the audacity to claim that, oh, we don't want any police, we don't want any justice system. They're telling the truth. They don't want actual justice. They want weaponized justice, and that is even scarier. Well, we don't need to wait a few months or even years to know how this experiment in New York City is going to turn out, because we already have a long track record of it, even here in the United States. But before we get to that, I would like to acknowledge the members of today's Governor's Club. They are RL1401, Bob, thank you so much, very gracious, Shannon Miller, Moonfairy11, Peach Street, Scruffette, Dennis Nevin, McTrim, and Don Frank. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you enjoy it. Well, if you take a look at this, the average grocery store profit margin is actually one of the thinnest in all of retail and in all of American business. The average grocery store net profit runs between 1 and 3% of revenue. It is so narrow that even one bad quarter can put the entire company in jeopardy, in the red, for the entire year. It really is very difficult. So for the city of New York to claim that they are going to lower prices by 30%, well, not only is that going to be very bad for them, and not only is the lack of market incentive going to lead to, you know, just lazy workers and probably just a disaster in the store itself, it's going to put pressure on those mom and pop shops. How is a bodega, how is a family run business that's been here for decades supposed to compete against the city that is subsidizing prices when the margin is only 1 to 3%? It's very bad. And actually, in Kansas City, they've already run this experiment. They had a city-run grocery store, and they were forced to shut it down because things went so badly. Take a look at this. The shelves were empty. This wasn't that long ago. This was just last year, and I actually covered it here on the channel, but here's a quick flashback.
It's clear this Sunfresh at 31st and Prospect is struggling. This is the first section people see when they come in. There's barely any produce. A lot of the coolers and shelves around the store look the same way, empty. So shoppers have been asking us, if the store isn't closing, then where's all the food? A rotten smell comes through the door, and anywhere you turn, you'll see products that need to be restocked. No hot food or deli.
There was a time this store was on life support. I can tell you today, right now, it's damn near dead.
This is a new low, even to people like Pat Clark, who've watched the store go through its ups and downs.
30 days ago, hell, we look like a grocery store again.
The city owns the Linwood Shopping Center. A nonprofit operates the grocery store. Public and private investments are in the millions of dollars for the center.
And look, the shelves aren't empty because everyone flocked there to just grab things because they were so cheap. No, it was poorly run. I mean, just a complete disaster. When you have absolutely no market incentive, people are going to be lazy. Shortcuts are going to be taken. And there's just so many ways we can go down this rabbit hole. Communism, socialism have just been proven wrong and ineffective time and time again, and it's just crazy that people are still gullible to believe all of this. I guess there are unfortunately some people young enough to not have learned from history, or maybe they just don't learn this in school. Maybe that's the problem. But all of this is sad to watch from a distance, but at the end of the day, the people are getting the government they voted for, so they really are getting what they deserve. As always, though, all of this is just my analysis and commentary. That's what's going on in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So what do you think? Do you think Mamdani and his ilk realize how hypocritical they are? Do you think that they're just idiots and they don't get that they are hypocrites? Or do you think it's sort of a callousness where they do realize they're being hypocritical, but they just don't care because they're a bunch of jerks? Let me know what you think about that down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.